Hey YouTube! Welcome back to my channel. Alicia here with Alicia's Life, and I'm here to review The Real Housewives of New York, Season 9, Episode 7. Let's get started. So this week is the week of Dorinda's charity event for Beauty for Freedom, and the show opens up with Dorinda running around getting the preparations ready. She said she's very behind, and she's kind of leaning on Bethany to kind of help her get going. We see Bethany. She's decided to sell her apartment. She's decided she wants a bigger place in Soho. It's 2,000 more square feet. That's huge, considering a lot of those apartments in New York aren't even that big. They're not even 2,000 square feet. They might cost $2,000, but they're not 2,000 square feet. And that's $2,000 a month. So we see Ramona and Avery. They go shopping. And Ramona decides to share with Avery a little bit about what's going on with her and the fight with Bethany. And she's looking for some support. But Avery's pretty sharp. She knows her mom. And she right away asks her mom, are you sure that there wasn't something in your body language? Or, from the way you describe it, it sounds like what you said to Bethany was kind of an attack from the side. So she's pretty shrewd. And Ramona takes it in. She takes it in. And so Avery says, look, somebody's got to be the bigger person here. Somebody's got to smooth it over. And Ramona says, why does it have to be me? And I'm thinking, because it's always you. You're the reason why you're in these situations. So it makes sense you need to be the one to correct it. Sonia and Luann meet up to discuss the whole Bethany-Ramona fight. And it's interesting, they have two different approaches or ideas about the best way to approach Bethany. So Sonia's saying, look, you got to tread lightly. This is Bethany. You can't talk about her business or her kid. And Luann feels like you just have to kind of confront it and get it all out on the table. So interesting, because I don't think that either one of those really work with Bethany. You kind of have to catch her in a good mood. I mean, you got to consider that. So if you approach her, you kind of see how she is first, or you kind of decide what your approach is going to be. So then we have Dorinda and Bethany discussing the fight with Bethany and Ramona. And pretty much Dorinda, she's there to be the peacemaker, and she's asking Bethany, is there any way y'all can be friends again? And Bethany's saying, look, after all that I've been through with Ramona, I'm over it. Like, I am done with her. I can be cordial with her, but there's really no going back. So that's where Bethany stands. But they're on a show together, so we'll see if that lasts. So then we have a funny scene. It's a cute scene with Tinsley and Ramona and Sonia. And they're all out on the town, single ladies. And so Tinsley's asking the ladies for advice, like how does she meet a man or whatever. So they go to Boutique. And I think we've heard of Boutique like a million times. It's a hot spot, all these men in New York. So they go there together. And it is like Millionaire Matchmaker in there. Like, if you've ever seen that show, Hattie Stanger brings in all the eligible bachelors, and they all kind of stand around sipping a drink waiting for the show to begin. There's so many men in there. And I mean, except for Ramona and Sonia and Tinsley, I don't think I saw many other women. So it made me wonder, did the producers have a casting call? Anyway, lots of guys in there, lots to choose from. But I tell you guys, there was a lot of people in that room, and I'm wondering, do we have a boutique in my city? Some place where you can just go where there's lots of single guys there? Or girls for the men who are out there looking? But if there is one, I need to know. So we're at this place, right? And Tinsley sets her sights on this guy named Chad. And the chyron at the bottom of the screen calls him Chad/cute guy. I thought that was pretty funny. Anyway, so he's very young. He's probably in his 20s. I think he said he was in his 20s, maybe early 20s. So anyway, so Ramona goes over to the guy, and she's totally embarrassing. Like, embarrassing. She goes over to him, and she's like, yeah, that's my friend Tinsley, and she's looking for a guy, and she's kind of telling him that we've been coaching her on how to approach a guy. All this unnecessary information. I'm like, really, Ramona? What are you doing? Get away. So anyway, so she's being embarrassing. Sonia comes over. She starts grilling the guy. How old are you? And all this. And when she finds out he's in his 20s, she's like, oh, too young, like rejects him. And she's showing Tinsley another guy who's older because Sonia is focused on this whole marriage track that Tinsley said she was interested in. Tinsley's like, listen, you know what? This guy is really cute. And that's what I want to do today. And, the marriage thing is still on the table, but I just want to have some fun. So she's pretty tactful about it. She seems to have a good attitude about it. But she's firm in her word that she wants to go out with Chad. So that's what she does. Sonia is like irritated by the fact that she's talking to this guy. Like, she's like, look, you got to stay focused. Like, she's taking it personally. And I'm thinking, really, Sonia, you're dating a 20-year-old. So why are you really harping on the fact that, or you were, why are you harping on the fact that Tinsley wants to date a 20-year-old? I mean, she's even younger than you are. And you're not going to marry that guy that you're dating. And she probably maybe won't marry this guy either. But hey, you just said in another interview that you had that there's guys you date. This guy should marry. So maybe this is the guy she wants to date and not marry. But let her have her fun. So Tinsley was like, whatever, thanks guys for your advice. This is what I want to do. So she goes off with Chad. They're making out in the bar, whatever, and that's her evening. So then the next day, we are back at Sonia's house, and we see Sonia in the kitchen. We see Tinsley come in, and she's giving her a hard time about, did you come home last night? Or did you come home this morning? And all these inappropriate questions. And so then she accuses Tinsley of turning the heat on. And I'm thinking, now Sonia, we already know your heat doesn't work, so why even go there? So anyway, it's just, I am starting to see some tension between Sonia and Tinsley. At first, when Tinsley was saying that Sonia was treating her as a mother, I didn't really see that. I felt like, she's just saying that. But now, I guess the more we see her, their interactions, I kind of do see Sonia as a little bit more overbearing than she needs to be in Tinsley's, adult life. And I think the fact that Tinsley acts like she's a 20-year-old versus a 40-year-old grown woman, married, by the way, divorced and everything, maybe that's lending itself to Sonia's overprotective behavior. I'm not really sure, but Sonia really needs to fall back. So we move on to Bethany, and she's at the Dress for Success annual breakfast. She's one of the panelists who's going to be getting up there and speaking. So she gets up there. Dennis, her current boyfriend, shows up to support her, and she gets a little emotional as she's speaking about, her life and how she's gotten to where she is and everything, and it's very touching. So then Bethany starts to give us a little bit of a story about her and Dennis. She says that Dennis was one of her girlfriend's boyfriend back in the day, but she never looked at him that way. She didn't even see him as anything but Dennis, right? And then later in life, when Dennis broke up with his wife, they started dating. She left out the fact that the girlfriend was the wife, that she's been knowing this man forever, never stopped knowing him, that was her really good girlfriend's husband. So there's a lot of drama and controversy around the timeline of their relationship and the end of that girl's divorce. So, Bethany's trying to just keep it clean. I guess she says, one scandal's enough with this whole topless video thing. I'm not going to start to introduce my actual relationship on the show too. But I'm sure it'll come up at some point. So she tells us that it's so romantic that Dennis confessed to her sometime later in life that he was in love with her, just wanted to be with her. And I was thinking to myself, did it have anything to do with the fact that you're a celebrity now and a millionaire now, multimillionaire? Perhaps that made you more appealing. Nothing against Bethany and her personality, but you're with somebody for 20 years and then all of a sudden you realize you have feelings for someone? I don't know, y'all. What do y'all think? We get a quick scene of Carol and Adam. They go rock climbing together. Was Carol using baby talk, you guys? It sounded like she was using baby talk. She was whining about what she wanted to do and didn't want to do. Kind of weird, right? But anyway, so they go rock climbing, and Carol climbs the wall, whatever, and then she's talking to one of his friends, and she's talking about how Adam's apartment that he was going to move into fell through, so now he's not moving. But that she's also disappointed by that. I guess she was really looking forward to her space, but she doesn't really know what that means for their relationship, since they're supposed to be building together, but then they don't, I don't know. It's weird, y'all. What do you think about the whole relationship situation? Do you think that Carol is like a runaway bride in a way, that she maybe likes Adam more than she says, but she doesn't want to get married because she's afraid to? There's something going on there with Carol. Super quick scene of Tinsley and Chad going bowling. And Tinsley acts like she's all offended because the bartender doesn't card her. I'm like, all right, girl, you might wear clothes like a 20-year-old and talk like a 20-year-old, but you don't look like a 20-year-old, so you're not going to get carded. Nothing exciting here. Just a typical bowling date. They have a good time, and that's it. So we move on to Ramona, and she's out on the single scene with her girlfriends, and she's saying that, you know what, being single is not so scary. I'm in New York City. Imagine if I was in Wichita, Kansas, then I'd be scared. And I remember, it made me think of Vicki Gunvalson when she was talking about how Oklahoma was terrible when her daughter was living there, and I was like, how much hate mail is Ramona going to get from people in Wichita, Kansas? These people need to think about what they're saying. So we really quickly find out that the reason why Ramona's on this little outing with girlfriends is because one of her friends named Missy, who looks like Melody Thomas Scott from The Young and the Restless, good old Nikki Newman. Anyway, Missy apparently used to date Tom as well. So Ramona is still on the Tom train, y'all. And so Missy said that she was dating Tom, and she found out that he was dating Luann because she ran into him. with Luann, so that's how she found out. And so basically, Ramona's trying to just drive the point home that, look, Tom's still out there dating, and, he probably is dating other people too. But we don't really know the timeline. Like, when was his date with Missy? Was it at the beginning of the relationship? Was Luann still dating out there too? I mean, we really don't know the timeline, but we're supposed to not care about the timeline because it's all about the drama in the show. But I'm wondering. I don't even think that Tom is really that innocent. He might be out there still tricking. And I don't think Luann really cares. As long as he's discreet and doesn't bring it home to her, I think she's cool with it. The point is, Ramona said she was going to leave it alone. She was going to do anything else. And then she goes on the show and brings on someone who maybe was still dating Tom when she was dating Tom or not. So she's still trying to humiliate Luann, and she really wonders why she has to be the one that always has to repair relationships. You do stuff like this. We move on to Luann. She's getting her makeup done. And I don't know if this was like a preparation look for the wedding or whatever, but they discussed that she wants a natural look. Victoria's there, and we find out Victoria is going to be the flower girl in Luann's wedding. And I was like, flower girl? Like, how old is Victoria? Isn't she 21? Like, that is so weird to me. Like, you couldn't find like a niece, nephew somewhere on his side even? I don't know. That's weird to me. But whatever. It's her wedding. Do what you like. So, hey. So the main event of the night is Dorinda's charity event, Beauty for Freedom. And this charity event is to benefit human trafficking, the stopping of human trafficking. Dorinda's decided they're going to have an auction, and she's called on each of the ladies to donate something for the charity. And it kind of reminded me of the pop-up shop that Atlanta did, that Phaedra put together for Flint, Michigan. And each of the ladies donated something that was personal to them. So, of course, Bethany has Skinny Girl, and Carol had a whole bunch of a variety of products like facial cream and candles. It was kind of hodgepodge of things. But anyway, the point is everyone donated something, and they were going to have an auction, a silent auction, to raise the money. I think out of all the items the ladies are going to donate, I think Luann's was something I would be interested in, because she was giving up drinks with Luann. Sonia had a piece of clothing she was going to give away, which I was thinking, didn't you give away every single thing you had to the Dress for Success thing? What's left? And like I said, Carol had that hodgepodge of things. They didn't want to go into everybody's stuff, but that's what they kind of mentioned. And I think out of all of them, I'd like to do the drinks with Luann. I think it'd be kind of fun. So at this event, turns out nobody's voting on these items. Like, nobody's interested in the charitable items. So Bethany has the idea that she and Carol are going to work the room and kind of flirt with guys to get them to start to bid on the items, right? So they're working the room. They end up talking to someone named Milos who knows Sonia. So they thought, Sonia, okay, maybe she should go out with him because he seems like a perfect match for her. So they're thinking they're going to put a plan into motion. So Carol and Bethany walk over to Sonia, Ramona, and Tinsley, and they start talking about this guy Milos and everything that, Sonia's like, oh yeah, I know him. So they're talking, right? All of a sudden, Ramona disappears. We see her slinking across the room, and she ends up trying to chat up Milos. Like, she's all in his face, flirting with him, and I was like, what? And so Sonia's just like, look at Ramona. She's over there talking to him. We were just talking about fixing up with me, and she's over there making her move. Ramona is the worst. Like, she is the worst. And I wonder, does she do this stuff like for television? Like, is she really like this in real life? Like, I really need to know, because that's horrible. Horrible. Luann and Tom arrive, and they run into Sonia, and Sonia's gracious. She's like, oh, hi. Tom just treats her like he's never met her. He is like super shady. He's like, yeah, what's your name again? He's like, I'm not here for the foolishness. We're too close to the nuptials. You're not going to mess this up for me. And so, Sonia's all hurt and everything. But I'm like, look, this dude has a mission, an agenda. And if he has to act like he's never met you before in his life, that is what he is going to do. Bethany, to her credit, apologizes to Tom. If she's done anything to hurt him, she's sorry. He pretty much blows it off, changes the subject, keeps it super light. I'm like, wow, he was well coached. He is not getting caught up in any drama tonight. There's more messiness at this charitable event. Carol goes over to a friend of Luann's named Barbara. And she's asking Barbara, hey, what are you doing for the holidays? And Barbara's like, oh, I'm going home to my mother, and I'm going to Luann's wedding. And so she's like, oh, are you excited? And Barbara's like, no, not really. And they enter into this conversation that completely damages Barbara's relationship with Luann. So Barbara says she's not excited about going to the wedding, and she says that Luann is just determined to go through this wedding no matter what, and that she has said that she would rather just get divorced on the other side than to call it off. And I'm like, wow, like Barbara's saying this. Barbara, don't you know that you're on TV? Like, you're mic'd, right? Like, I don't understand really what's going on here. You're supposed to be Luann's friend. Like, wow. So anyway, so she's not excited to go. Carol asks her about the rumor she's been hearing about Tom. She's like, hey, I hear he's still hanging out at the Regency. He's still dating other women. Like, what's going on with that? Carol tells us in confessional that she's hearing rumors that Tom is still hanging out in the Regency, and she said she overheard it from a friend of Luann. So theoretically, that would be Barbara. So basically, the rumor is that Tom is still out there at the Regency. He's still dating and just doing everything he ever wanted to do. And poor Luann. So I guess we'll see what happens, if it's true or not true. We'll just see as the season progresses. We know they got married, so regardless, you know, they got married. Anyway, guys, that is the end of this episode. Let me know in the comments below if you saw it. What did you think? What did you think of Ramona and her shadiness? And what do you think about Sonia and Tinsley? Like, that's becoming like an issue, right? Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Please remember to give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you have not already. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.